didn't start off quite so well. My problems began with fruit. My first grade teacher decided to teach us about fruits and vegetables and which plants were which. She started by saying a tomato was a vegetable. So I said, "Miss Teacher, a tomato's a fruit." "No," she said, "a tomato is a vegetable, Caitlin." "A tomato's a fruit. I learned it." Then she sent me to the principal's office for disrupting the class. Didn't think much of it until a couple weeks later when we were doing a reading class. All the kids had to read a short story in front of everyone, and I didn't get called on for a while, so I decided why not use that time wisely. I skimmed my own book, and I made up theme songs for all the characters. The little girl would have a happy little theme song like do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. The mom would have a theme song, some sort of 1940s swing song, do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. And the dumpy-looking man had a tuba. Since I didn't want to disturb the rest of my classmates, I hummed quietly. At least I thought I did. My teacher heard me and said, "Caitlin, you'll read next." So I stood up, opened my book, at page 1. "There was a little girl waiting in line," and then my teacher went, "Do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do." I kept reading because that was what I was called on for, but she kept going, and I got to the last page. "And do you know what they were all waiting for? Ice cream! Ice cream! Ice cream!" All the other kids in the class were laughing at me, and she just kept going. I don't know why he was so angry at me. I heard that at one of the parent-teacher conferences, she told my mom, "That girl doesn't know when people are teasing her." Mom just said, "Well, she hasn't had a lot of experience with that." There could be other reasons why she didn't like me so much. I was loud as a kid. I hadn't mastered the act of raising my hand, and I still thought a tomato was a fruit. And then came the end of the year, when everyone was to clean out their desks. I had 4 neat piles on mine. One for my drawings, one for my blank paper, which I used for drawing, one for worksheets, and one for blank worksheets. My teacher came over and asked what I did with blank papers. I figured she must mean the drawing papers, and I said, "I'm throwing them in the trash." She gasped. She took a blank worksheet from my desk and wrote in an orange marker, "Caitlin threw this in the trash," and told me I had to have my mother sign it. Brought home to Mom, explained the situation, and Mom said my teacher was wrong. Foolishly, with my paper in hand, I went back the next day, looked my teacher right in the eye and said, "You were wrong." "You were wrong?" She said. "You were wrong? I'm the teacher, and I say you're wrong. Now get back to your desk before I send you to the principal's." Then she took that very same worksheet, that very same orange marker, and wrote, "Dear Mrs. Seary, your daughter threw this out in the trash. I took her to the trash can and made her fish it back out." All I wanted to do that day was drown my sorrows in video games, but Mom wouldn't let me touch the computer until I told her what was wrong. Sobbing, I sobbed and said that my teacher was right after all, and my mom said, "Caitlin, sometimes teachers don't know what they're talking about. Sometimes teachers don't know that tomatoes are fruit, and sometimes they're only teachers because they have very powerful husbands." And then she made sure I wasn't going to tell my teacher all of this. Upswing of this is that I graduated from elementary school with little to no emotional scars. I'm fine. I'm not bitter. But I did hear that a couple years ago she got transferred to a middle school. My elementary school teacher, who couldn't handle a little rebellion from a 6-year-old, now in a cesspool of anger, hormones, and cynicism. Life is good.
Thank you, Caitlin.